And we're live. You're listening to the Help Desk Podcast. My name is Gary Hunt, and I'm going to be manning the Help Desk for the next 30 minutes, actually for the next hour tonight. This is show number 30. It's National Podcast Day. It's THDP 30. Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Help Desk. I'm your host, Gary Hunt, and I'd like to thank you for downloading and subscribing to our podcast. You are listening to us. We are on a live video feed right now to YouTube, and we're on Google Plus Hangouts on air. I'm hoping that this goes through. I'm hoping that people will join me, and I'm going to go through and just treat it like it's a normal podcast here. At any rate, you can visit our website at thehelpdeskpodcast.com. Show notes for tonight's podcast can be found at thehelpdeskpodcast.com/THDP30. You know, we strive to get together like this once a week for 30 minutes or so, basically an hour tonight, to cover the hot issues in information technology that are confounding us all. At the same time, we hope to be able to inspire you to volunteer your input to our discussions. We try to make it fun and entertaining, and we'd like it really a whole lot if you could use one of our feedback channels to contact us. To leave a voicemail message, you can call 313-444-3154, or you can email us at feedback@thehelpdeskpodcast.com. You can come and join one of our circles on Google Plus at the Help Desk Podcast, or you can follow us on Twitter at HelpDesk54. And then finally, we are proud to announce that we are members of the Tech Podcast Network. That's TPN. If it's tech, it's here.
You are listening to yet another one of the fine members of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's you. Find more of the member shows over at techpodcasts.com.
Okay, I'm sorry for going over on that one. What can I say? I am so sorry. This is our first video podcast, and we're going to get it's going to be a little tough and a little tight, and hopefully people will come and join us. And hopefully you're able to join us. Do I have anybody out there? I could just sit here and fiddle my thumbs all night long. No, not going to do that. We're going to talk about a couple things tonight. You know, hey, today Windows officially named their next operating system. We all thought it was going to be Windows 9, didn't we? Everybody was talking about how Windows 9 this, Windows 9 that, Windows 9 is going to have to be this, Windows 9 is going to have to be that. We didn't know what the heck we were talking about. They changed it. They made it Windows 10, just bypassed 9 totally. What's that going to say about the people that say that the odd numbered operating systems for Microsoft are the good ones, and the even numbered operating systems tend to be bad? And then there's the same people that say that every other one. So now we have a conflict, because every other one that means the next one on 8 was, let's face it, it was can we say underwhelming? And so the next one would be a success, right? And so that should have been Windows 9. But no, they said Windows 10. Don't know. I have seen versions of it. I have seen the video on it during the unveiling. Videos of the unveiling today. They've got the start button back, and it's kind of a different way that they're presenting it. They technically do have the start button there. You're going to have to look to find it, but they do technically have the start button there. And it's going to be kind of a marriage between Windows 7 and Windows 8. because you're going to have the same kind of a menu as you had with Windows 7 when you on the left-hand side. But there's going to be a bunch of headings in there, like when you open up the headings, like say for computer, I'm just guessing right now, but you're going to open up one of those headings and it's going to open up a bunch of appropriate tiles, which are going to look just like Windows 8. So they're using items from both of them. So don't know how that's going to work out. This is live. Nobody's showing up. So I'm going to go a few minutes if nobody shows up. Wow. What if you gave a party and nobody came? What if you were... I've always had a sense of humor, and everybody always told me that, with my personality, I should go into sales, I should go into something public, and I did sales for a very large portion of my life. They told me I should be a comic, I should get up on stage, I should do stand-up, and that never appealed to me so much, because what if you were the lonely comic on stage and you're hitting the microphone? Hello, is there anybody out there? And I'm not talking like Pink Floyd. Is there anybody out there? No, that's different. They know somebody's out there. They're at every one of their concerts. I'm feeling like maybe I'm not. Don't know if there's anybody out there right now. At any rate, I sent out a bunch of invitations, and it shouldn't be hard to find. I mean, if you follow the invitations, it shouldn't be hard to get here. I'm going to text Ed here. This has got to be just compelling video, huh? Something. Okay, we're going on the text. I hate Windows Phone, by the way. Have I ever told you how much I hate Windows Phone? Are you coming? We could do these texts. I could text Ed a question, and he could give me an answer on the text, and I can read it back to you. That would be very interesting, wouldn't it? Okay, hold on a second. We're going to also be so compelling a video that we're going to watch Gary Hunt clean his glasses. Okay, I'm 60 years old. I've got a brand new knee that I replaced in June 17th, okay? And I'm getting my hip replaced in December 15th. And I'm wearing glasses, okay? Get over it. I don't know if I'm going to get over it, but you get over it. Anyway, sorry about that. If there's no glare if I do this, but I look kind of stupid. This is what my new Rode microphone looks like. It's a USB microphone. I like to hear how I sound going out there. And so I wear an earphone in one ear. When this is an audio podcast, it's totally unobtrusive. No one knows I'm doing it, okay, except me. And if I turn my head really fast, then I hang myself. But other than that, that's what that is. I hate I hate really long wires, so I got it all tied off together. You're seeing parts of my studio. Let me see if I can. I've got a control here for the webcam. Let's see if I can. Okay, that's the wrong way. There's our back door to my studio. Notice the Route 66 sign. I've got a bunch of Route 66 stuff. Let's see. There's our other computers over there. What I've got here is I've got one microphone. We've got two microphones. I've got the Audio 2100 in storage right now that we can use for if we have a guest in here and we can do interviews or something. I can set up that microphone for the guest, and he would sit right here basically and have this workstation, only it would be turned around, and then I would be on this workstation over here working, and then the microphone would be over here. I'm not sure how that's going to work out yet, because two people sitting right next to each other talking. Not sure how that's, because it's going to be hard not to have both voices picked up on the microphones. So I don't know how we're going to do that yet. Maybe we're going to have to put somebody in the other room or something. This is just a little studio that I built up in my office, in my home, with very, very little money. The money that I've spent has been on equipment, such as the new microphone. I've got a bunch of nice monitors here. I've got no shortage of computers, just like every other geek in the world, I would guess. At any rate, that's that. Okay, I'm going to run a little thing for the National Podcast Day. By the way, this is September 30th, National Podcast Day. This whole show was going to be an hour-long celebration of podcasting. Here we go.
National Podcast Day is coming September 30th. But what is National Podcast Day? Well, it's pretty simple, and you can help spread the word. National Podcast Day is dedicated to promoting podcasting worldwide through public engagement. You may be asking, what can I do to get involved on National Podcast Day? It's easy. Head over to nationalpodcastday.com and check the suggestions. But ultimately, the options are endless. Remember, September 30th, nationalpodcastday.com.
Okay, National Podcast Day. We are our web host is Blueberry. We use, and like I mentioned before, we are members of the TPN, the Tech Podcast Network. Okay, Blueberry. Hold on just a second here.
Blueberry. This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry. BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
I might as well run them. No one's out there watching. Oh, I did have a viewer. I've got a viewer right now. Hello, viewer. How are you? Is there, maybe there's something I can do. Hold on just a second. Capture control room. I'm supposed to have a control room. Here it is right here, I think. I'm pretty sure you did not come on here to hear me sing. I'm pretty sure. Boy, I know nothing about this stuff. Control room, what is the new? I thought that I was accepting people. Okay. I'm going to send, excuse me, please. I'm going to send individual invites. Hold on a second. Hold on just a second there. There. I don't know what I can do, viewer, if you want to take part. I'm trying to get there, but it doesn't seem to be working. I'm doing something wrong, I'm sure. You know, excuse me, please. Pardon me. I got an email from Tony Bemis. Hey, Gary, I don't see a join button to talk to you. You may have to invite me. I will do that right now, Tony, if you're still there. Hang on, dude, I'm coming. Oh, wait. Okay, I got to get your email address first. Tony, you're invited. Okay, hold on here. Really, that's your email address? Okay. Hey. Yeah, I know, but I need your email address, man. Let's see. You gotta say, you gotta admit one thing. I'm not afraid to do things that make me feel maybe uncomfortable or go on the edge here. You live and you learn as you do, I think. I think. Excuse me, please. I'm thinking I need Tony, is that you?
It is me. Hello.
You know, you and I have never met.
No, yeah, but I know your wife. So that's interesting.
Uh-oh. Everybody, there's nobody on here right now, but I will be publishing this podcast. And this is Tony Bemis. Tony has a podcast on Linux. He's local in the Detroit area. Tony, do me a favor and tell us a little bit about your podcast. Or a lot of it.
Sure. We are a bi-weekly podcast. We talk about Linux and open source software and news. And it's me and Matt Enders and Mary Tomich. And the three of us, we come down into my studio. We sit down, we talk for about an hour and a half. Sometimes it goes to about 2 hours. But we go over things about like new releases for software and new news and stuff that's going on.
The last couple of days I've been trying to learn Hangouts on air, and I've got all this stuff on the left-hand edge here that's supposed to help me, and one of them is control room, and it opened up a portion on my right side of the screen, and I didn't see anything. That's because I didn't have anybody talking to me. I see you're up there now. I feel so much better.
One of the neat features of control room is you can have one person join the control or join in, and when say you have like 5 people talking, and that person can choose which camera is actually showing.
Yeah.
Instead of just grabbing the one that's talking at the moment.
I think that's amazing technology all by itself. This stuff, if you really stop to think, what is available out there for us right now? People in IT, it's really amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. They've got this Google Hangouts, and the camera will go on whoever is talking at the moment. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old or something, but I think that's just darn amazing.
Yeah, I think that is pretty cool, but I think the most amazing part is just being able to get everybody to talk together and having video and live, and then as we're talking right now, it's already posting to YouTube. And as soon as you're done, you can just post that link, and everybody can go and see it. You don't have to do any editing to get it out there.
This is cool. I don't know why I haven't been doing video podcasts in the past, other than, heck, I figured I had to kind of get the audio part down before I started branching out a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I think we took little over 6 months before we started doing video, and it does definitely add another component that you have to deal with instead of just doing an audio-only podcast. But what I like about it is that it has the video. People can actually see you, and Google Hangouts has made it really easy.
Google is doing so many good things right now. I just hope they keep it. I hope they keep Google Plus. I've heard a lot of I've heard rumors that Google Plus may be on the edge. I hope not.
Oh yeah, I've heard those rumors too, but I don't believe them.
Google has a past. They have a record of bringing out really cool things and then just kind of dropping them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Still think, yeah, I agree, and I've seen some of those. Like Google Listen and is it Google Reader? Those are both or like their news feed things. Yeah, they've dropped those off, but again, they've had a fan base or a user base, but not nearly as large as what Google Plus has.
Hey, Tony, not trying to change the subject or anything, but I'm going to change the subject.
No problem.
By the way, I am so sorry. Excuse me. We never run into this problem when I'm audio because I'll just edit the darn thing out.
That's right.
Maybe I need to be doing stronger, like I said before. Okay. Anyway, since we've talked on email and such, we'll follow each other on Twitter. Did you just have a child not too long ago?
Not. No, I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, but my 4-year-old just had a birthday party or had a birthday, so I don't know if maybe that's it or maybe you're thinking of somebody else.
I don't know. Ed says I've been on for 30 minutes. Well, you're on the wrong one, Ed. Where are you? I sent out.
Oh. This is my 4-year-old.
Hi there. Hi there, little
Hi
Bemis.
to everybody.
How are you? Do you know right now that you're going to be in 57 countries all around the world? That's kind of cool.
What? Actually, I have headphones on, so she can't hear right now.
Oh. That's probably just as well. I don't want to scare her.
Yeah. Actually, let me talk to him for a little bit, and then I'll come upstairs, okay? Sorry about that.
No, it's no problem.
Oh, and here's my 2-year-old also. Hi, Jonah.
Hi, 2-year-old.
Yeah, hey, this is a national podcast. In my headphones off, so now everybody can hear. Sorry, I didn't mean for my whole family to come on in.
That's okay.
So we're live on Google Hangouts, and this will be recorded for forever.
It's the Bemuses.
Yeah, and right now I have a laptop torn apart, and Alex is touching things. No, Alex, don't touch. No. Please don't.
This is Tony's workroom.
Yes, it is.
Am I also one other personal question? Is your wife from Minnesota?
No, she's not. She's from Michigan.
Oh God, I could have sworn I saw a tweet or something of you where she was from something about Annandale or something. And we are going to welcome in Ed Brzezowski, my buddy and my partner. Ed, this is Tony Bemis talking with us. Ed, are you there?
I don't see his video.
He's showing up in my control room.
Yeah, I saw him pop up.
Do I have to do anything here?
There looks like he's starting to come on now. Bye, everybody. All right, no, you guys got to go now. This is really not making for good podcasting, especially tech podcasting.
Whoa!
Bye. All right, everybody, say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right. All right. All right. So this really isn't that good. About that, everybody.
So, let me see. Present to everyone. Ed, does that work now? Are you there, Tony?
No.
I am here.
Are you there, Ed?
No?
No, you're not.
Oh, good. The audio's working.
But not the video.
No, camera's out.
Oh, your camera's out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just as well.
Works better for me. I don't
Hey,
don't have to finish rearranging my office.
I am so sorry, everybody, for this is, you know, the only other time that we used Google Plus was when we interviewed Don Jones, PowerShell MVP for Microsoft, and that went well, except for the fact that I didn't manage to save it, which ruined that entire podcast. At any rate,
I'm recording on my iPad, so.
Okay, so Tony, can you hear everybody?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I can hear everybody. Hey, I got a question for you guys. Tony, we've been talking about on our podcast. We've been talking lately about this merger between Comcast and Time Warner. Do you know anything about that?
I've heard a little bit at the beginning. I haven't had a chance to catch up on your show, so I don't know what you guys already talked about. But
basically, Comcast is the largest, obviously, is the largest cable operator and company in the country, and Time Warner apparently is the second largest. And it looks like the government is going to allow to come together. It's not a merger. Comcast is actually buying Time Warner out, and I can't imagine how that's going to be not anti-competitive.
Oh, but they're being really nice, and they're selling off several states, Michigan, Indiana, and forming a separate company that they own like 87% of.
Yeah.
So that's completely separate.
But the thing is that I talked about them in a podcast, I think the second to the last podcast, I think it was number 28, not number 29. And you know, the rotten thing is that 13 companies right now have 80% of the cable market in the United States. And Time Warner and Comcast have more than any of the other 11 companies put together. And now those two companies are going to become one, so that means one company is going to have more. You understand what I said there? That there's going to then be 12 companies that own more than 80% of the market, and there's going to be one of those companies that's going to own more than any of those other 10 companies combined.
Wow, yeah, that's not good for because it just creates monopoly.
How is that not monopolistic?
Well, the only good thing that can come out of it is, like we keep seeing, every time Google says, "Hey, we're going to put fiber in somewhere," AT&T or Comcast offer gigabit Ethernet wireless or internet service in the area to beat Google before they get their fiber in.
Yeah, I wish they'd say that in Detroit.
Right. Although it can also go the other way, is that Time Warner, Comcast, or this new company coming into Michigan and that they own, maybe they're going to be content with just what they're giving us, and because there's no competition, then we're not going to get anything new.
And that's a distinct possibility, and given how good Comcast customer service is,
or the lack of
sarcasm, so
or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Again, I refer to THDP 28 for statistics on that too. Hey, Tony, question. There's a problem with Bash on Linux and Mac. That there's a problem with I don't know, was it malware or plain old virus? What's going on with that? Do you know?
Yeah, that they call that the I can't remember what it's called. The side. No, but what it is yeah, there's a certain string that can be used to be able to gain access to your computers if you're running Linux or Mac, and for certain websites that are running CGI scripts that use Bash commands and have permissions to run those, then they can that can also gain access to your server. It's called Shell Shock, by the way.
Yeah.
And there's
Okay.
a few really good
Oh, that's right.
articles out there that DigitalOcean has put out one about how to find out whether you're affected or whether you can be affected by this problem, or whether once you've updated, whether it's been fixed. So DigitalOcean's done one, and there was another one. I'm trying to look up the link right now. But basically, you just need to do a security update for if you're on Linux. The security update came out like the day or the day after this was found out. But at last I heard, Mac is still vulnerable.
No, there's
And
there's a patch out now for it.
Oh, is there? Okay.
OS X Bash Update 1.0 for Mavericks, HT1222. I already applied it to both of my machines.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. And really, for the average person, your PC or something, you're not going to really have any problems with it. You'd have to be in a situation where you connect to like an open Wi-Fi, and you would also have to have your firewall turned off, and they would have to be able to, connect to your computer that way. So if you're at home, it's unlikely anything's going to happen. Or I suppose another way is if you were to just download something and run it without knowing either what it does or what it's supposed to do, it could cause some kind of problem like this.
I like to think that none of our listeners do things like that. They don't open any links in emails, Tony. They don't, nothing like that. And any kind of emails, if they don't know where it's from, they delete it. That's exactly what happens.
Right. Well, exactly. So, yeah, so that's the one thing that we need to tell everybody to do is update, use a firewall, and watch the emails and links you click on.
So, Ed, does this mean that you and I have like several hundred MacBooks that we've got to update now this next week?
I wish it was only several hundred.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, it's good to know before October starts. I have October completely booked.
Oh yeah, you should see my stand. They've got, maybe I shouldn't go into it, but they still have 13 people working on XP updates. They still have close to 50 schools that they have to update yet. They couldn't get to through the summer because they waited until June. At any rate, so they've got like 3 of us going around, and we got like 1,000 tickets right now for like 3 or 4 of us.
Wow, that's a lot of work. Where I work is similar. We're in the middle of doing the Windows 7 upgrade, and we're moving from. I work at a hospital in Dearborn, and we have moved from Windows XP to Windows 7, and we're about, I want to say 75 or maybe 80% done. But we had 9,000 computers to do.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work, and it was in one of the situations where they just waited too long, and then all of a sudden April hit, and they're like, oh, we got to get this done, and we're still in the process of doing it.
We've got 16 people working and 72,000 computers that we support.
Wow.
So do the math. I mean, gee whiz. You're all set. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a lot of work to do.
Ed, you're all set though, aren't you?
No. We still have a long way to go, but problem is we have a lot of machines that just aren't going to handle Windows 7, so we still have a lot of upgrades to do.
Yeah, that's what they're doing at DPS too. Is they're I guess they've gotten a lot of grant money, and so they're buying a lot of new equipment. Heck, we've got, of course, just in case my job isn't difficult enough, all the brand new equipment right now is getting Windows 8. By the way.
Oh, that's always fun.
So there we go. I always used to marveled at the fact that we had XP and 7 in the same in the same network. Now, no different. We've got 7 and 8, and everybody avoids the 8 computers, from what I understand, because they don't want to use it.
Are you guys deploying 8 as like an approved your own image, or is that just because that's what came out of the machine?
No, we take everything out. They have their own image that they put
Oh,
on.
wow.
So actually 8.1. But it's Windows came out today. Microsoft came out today with Windows 9. No, Windows 10. They skipped 9, and they came out with Windows 10. And in the article that I was reading about it earlier, they said that Windows 8, there's only 13% of all Windows machines are running Windows 8. Oh gosh.
Wow.
Yep, they actually announced the official end of them selling SKUs for any version of Windows 7 except for Windows 7 Professional happens toward the end of October. So every manufacturer that wants to sell a machine with anything besides Windows 7 Professional has to buy all their copies now.
Wow. Yeah. I'm surprised that there is as many places still selling computers with Windows 7 on. I'm just surprised to see that. I don't know if it's because they buy a long time ago and they're still going through that stock. I'm just surprised.
Hmm.
Or maybe it's just a backlash. Maybe all these retailers found that they can't sell a Windows 8.1 machine. I don't know.
I'm thinking that you still have a lot of people who are basically ordering machines with 7 on them. And so the vendors want to have them available because a lot of corporations still aren't allowing Windows 8 through the door.
Hey Tony, on Linux, do you know any kind of figure at all as to what, as far as servers go, what kind of market Linux has yet on those? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, as for web servers, Linux runs about 80% of all websites as you hit websites. All of Facebook runs on Linux web servers and database servers. And as for being are you talking about like file servers or domain controllers in the enterprise?
Yeah.
I want to say I don't remember a firm number, but no, I don't even want to guess. No, it's not small, but it's not. It hasn't taken over everything yet.
I think I
Um,
can scientifically say that there's a bunch of them.
yeah, yeah. Red Hat is really big, and there's a SUSE Enterprise Linux, but it's almost all of the like mission critical kind of software runs on either a Unix or a Linux still. I
Yeah.
know, like at the hospitals we run, our EMR that runs on Unix servers, and our previous EMR was on Red Hat servers. Um,
Huh.
so it's still it's a very large whatchamacallit? I can't think of the
Market
word
share.
now. Yeah, market share
Market
for
share.
yeah.
Ed, how come Ubuntu didn't take off? It seems like it had everything going for it. Do we just not care about Linux?
I mean, it made its inroads in certain areas, but I don't know. There were a bunch of projects that people were trying to push to get Linux into schools. Things like the LT. Wow, think of the alphabet of letters here. It basically was terminal services for Linux. Um,
LTSP.
thank you. I
Yeah.
could never remember that mix of letters. And it just, I think the biggest issue with it was like, I've been in school districts where they tried to save money, not buy Microsoft Office and use Open Office, or oh boy, It's one of those kind of evenings. I can't remember. There's another
Libre. It was
Libre office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the teacher, you'll have teachers who go, no, we absolutely can't do that. We need to have Microsoft Office. Why? Because our book is designed for Microsoft Office. And once you're running Microsoft Office, you're pretty much stuck running Windows. Again, if people gave it a fair shot, or somebody wrote a textbook to use Open Office, and you could go to a school district and say, look, we're paying this much for Microsoft licenses, we're paying this much for Office, that you could save a huge amount of money by changing. But the problem is you have all these websites that use things like Shockwave Player and Authorware and things that may not exist for Linux. Now all of a sudden the site they want to use won't run.
Tony, do you know that much? Do you know that much about Google?
Yeah, I know quite a bit, but one thing that the schools are starting to do is instead of handing out MacBooks, for those certain school districts that can get a school PC for every student, instead of handing out MacBooks, they're handing out Chromebooks.
Yeah.
Because even though they may break or there's a few other problems, but they can get 3 Chromebooks to every MacBook that they hand out. So even if it's a PC or one of the Chromebooks break, it's something that they can easily just swap out and then, under warranty have it fixed.
That's kind of what I was aiming at. I guess the point I was going to make was that there's a lot of school districts that are becoming Google school districts, Google Document school districts, and that kind of, those teachers seem to get along fine, but maybe they're not given any choice. Maybe that's the point.
Well, there's also one really serious issue. As far as we've seen doing some research, there's no way to filter web access on a Chromebook when it leaves your network. And if you take E-rate money, you have to filter any device that leaves your network.
Okay.
So if a district has a lot of Chromebooks and they let them leave and they don't have a way to enforce filtering, they could lose all their federal money.
But okay. But they can.
Yeah, I haven't heard either way. Sorry about that. I haven't heard either way about it, but yeah, that is something really important to do.
But there's not an issue on filtering when they're on the network?
Right, because then you have a filter at your gateway, either running, if you go the inexpensive route, you use Squid and Dan's Guardian running on Linux, and you take the free version, or you buy one of the myriad of sometimes extremely expensive commercial products that are out there, like WebSense or M86 or Fortinet, or I could probably go on for a couple hours listing names, iBoss, etc., of filtering appliances you can put on the edge of your network.
Since we've been having a podcast, you and I have been threatening to come out with an episode talking about Google and how they're going to be accepted in school districts or in business enterprise environments. And we just always put it back in the priority. And now all of a sudden, we just came out a couple weeks ago with our second annual laptop buyer's guide, and sure as heck, in the top 5 in the computers that we picked, the top 5 budget laptops, there are 2 Chromebooks in there. I never thought that would happen, but when I started doing the research, those are darn good computers. If you can get by the shortcomings.
Yeah, I need to spend a little more time playing with them to really decide. But again, there's so many little things that you have to think about along the way. I mean, managing them is easy. Google gives you a tool to manage them. Of course, you do have to spend, I want to say it's like $7 or $8 per year per Chromebook to be able to centrally manage them. Don't quote me on the price, but I remember it was relatively cheap, but not free.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot better than Casper.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the good things, I think they're really good for the individual home users, is because most people just want to get on and surf the web, or even if they want to write some letters or emails, having Google Docs built into it is really good. And they're always going to be somewhere that has a Wi-Fi, so they're always going to have access to their cloud services. And the best thing about it is that it's virtually virus-free. And what I mean about that is that if you get a virus and you reboot, that in that boot process, it checks the image, and if it finds a problem in the image or some kind of virus has attacked it, then it will completely just wipe and re-image the entire laptop, and then when you log back in, you'll have all your cloud services right back to how you had it before.
Well,
Yeah, there are a lot of good advantages to the Chromebook. Again, the biggest problem in education is we seem to go crazy buying software, and I don't know, my personal opinion, the companies that write these web-based applications for education, I think they seem to hire some of the least experienced programmers in the world. I mean, it's amazing how many websites won't run unless the person is running as an administrator with full administrative access to the system.
No way.
I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with software and loading it on for some teachers or something where it won't run. It'll just when I load it on, when I install it, it's going to go into my directory, and I can't get it on anybody else's directory except mine. I call the company. Well, have the user install it. Well, no, we can't do that because they need administrative rights. I keep thinking these software companies are humongous companies, and I'm pretty sure they have intelligent people working there. Why can't they understand that they're selling software to schools with networks and with administrators? I just don't get. I end up wasting a lot of time listening to them explain to me how to go in and change the code so that they can so I can get the teacher, to get the files to save in the teacher's directory.
Yeah, or it won't work with anything. It won't work with IE 10 or newer, but won't work with 7 or older. So you have a choice of running IE 8 or IE 9, and you can't run the latest Java plugin because then that breaks their program. But you're running an ancient version of authorware, and it's like, are you guys trying to make sure our machines get compromised, or was that just kind of a fun little add-on for you?
Hey, Tony, I got a question for you. In your job, you said you worked at a hospital, and we know that in the last couple of years that everybody's medical records have to go on electronic. Have you guys found that the federal government coming in and telling you how to do things yet, or you feel any kind of pressure from regulatory agencies or anything because of that?
Yes and no. Yes, they have come through and said if you don't meet these certain guidelines, then you're not going to get some money. So they put like an incentive in there saying if you do this and this and this, then we'll give you like $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's certain guidelines that we hit, and we had to spend $10 million to get the first $3 million back. And then we're going to, as we move along and we implement a couple more features in the EMR, the electronic medical records, then we're going to get another like $3 million, and then so in all that, it's going to be, we're going to get back about half of what we put into it, but it's going to be a much a better product in the end, and it's going to give more services that the patient can control and get to their data. And then we can also share between the hospitals and between, throughout the systems.
Well, I hope that you guys don't have any problems come December 15th, computer-wise. Okay, I want you to put that into your mind. Okay, Tony, December 15th, the network's got to be running really well. Because I'm getting my hip replaced.
Oh, all right, yeah.
On June 17th, I got my knee replaced.
Okay.
By you guys. Maybe not the IT department, but
right, not the IT department.
Not the
Yeah, I was at South Shore Hospital until just the other day, and then this week I started my new position. I'm in the data in the network services team now.
Oh, wow.
So I'll be working with routers and switches and cables and whatnot.
Does
So,
that mean you're going to be working out of Troy or in the hospitals?
no, I'll be in Dearborn still. We have a main IT building for at Oakwood that is in Dearborn, and that's where my office is right now. But it looks like that some of there's going to be there's like a new company or merger for Beaumont Health, and which
Yeah.
Oakwood is part of that, and it looks like
Yeah.
they're going to within the next few years they're going to start centralizing a lot of those services like IT. So it'll probably be more around the Southfield area.
Ah, okay. I hope it doesn't cost you anything.
You're right.
I've been Patty and I called that merger Bob
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
because of the hospitals involved. Beaumont, Oakwood, and Botsford. Bob.
Right. Yeah, that's funny.
Ed, don't you wish
Yeah.
that the government would come out and say that if you do this, we're going to give you $3 million to your district?
I wish I'd give me $500,000.
Although isn't E-rate something like that?
It is. Well, the program has gotten, well, we don't know if it's gotten more complicated yet or not. It used to be based on your free and reduced lunch numbers and whether you were urban or rural school district, you got a percentage off supported services. Things like telephone service, cell phones, web hosting, email, internet access, and then there were some programs to do internal wiring that certain poor urban districts seem to get like every single solitary year and left everyone else out in the cold. But now they're talking about changing it to a per student dollar amount. But I don't know how that's supposed to be affected by free and reduced lunch numbers. They're still having supported and unsupported services. So I'm still kind of up in the air on that one. I know they're talking about defunding phone service, which could be a real problem for a lot of school districts because they still are highly dependent on phones, and phones add up to be a large amount of money, whether you're doing voice over IP or not. When you have 400 phones, it adds up.
I guess it does. A lot of these districts spent all that money on phones, got reimbursed, and now they're going to... Huh, interesting.
Yeah. Hey guys, sorry to do this, but I've got to get going.
No, that's fine. This
so-
is going to be about to the end of ours anyway. It's scheduled from 8 to 9. Tony, I really appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad we got to talk.
I was feeling lonely. And it was great meeting you, too.
Yeah, it's good meeting you too.
I'll tell Patty you said hi.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot, Tony.
And one of these days, if you have, maybe we need to talk about doing some working together on a podcast on like looking at some network testing tools for Linux, things like Mandriva Pulse.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of that stuff we can. Yeah. That'll give me a little chance to prepare so I know what we're talking about.
Okay, man.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
That was cool.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I clicked on the link you sent me, so.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I thought I had everything all set up last night, and I get here and I couldn't figure out how to pull up the controls and everything that I needed. And finally, I just said, "Screw it! It's getting too late." So I just opened it up and went, start the Hangout, and sure as heck, that's kind of what I had to do. So then I had like less than 5 minutes to figure everything out to where I was operable, and so I had about I don't know, I had about 5-10 minutes there of my own before Tony showed up and said,
Yeah, I was like I say, I was sitting there. I got on at like 7:50 something, and I'm sitting in there, and it's like, you're the first person here. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just wait. I sat till about 8:15, 8:10, somewhere in there, and I went, okay, I'm just gonna turn the volume up, and I'm gonna go in the other room and do something. And as soon as I hear something out of the speakers, I'll know Gary jumped on finally.
yeah, it's heck. And of course what happened was I had the Hangouts set up. I set it up last night, and it was sitting there in our in the queue in the Google Plus account, and then in my YouTube channel, just sitting there in stasis waiting and everything, and I couldn't figure everything out, and so I decided I was going to open up another one just to be able to figure it out, and of course I got that one working perfectly, and then all of a sudden two of them showed up, and then I had to figure out which one I had to get rid of, and then I got rid of the one that was working perfectly, and then I didn't know how to get the other ones all brought up. Oh man, I do now though.
Well, we're gonna have to review this a couple more times before we try to schedule something again.
Like I said just before Tony showed up, I go, you gotta admire our moxie. We're not afraid of trying something new at least.
Right. Even if we do crash and burn massively.
Yeah, there I was. I was going, boy, this is compelling. Here I am. I'm all alone. This is why I don't want to be a stand-up comedian. Is there anybody out there? I was going,
Yeah.
and then and then I texted you, and so that was on the air. I was being filmed. I said, this has got to be a really compelling video. We're going to text Ed and find out where he's at.
Yes, apparently I'm sitting in a Google Hangout all by myself. Going, it's lonely in here.
So, if the philosophical question, if there was a Google Hangout and no one but Ed showed up, is there really a Google Hangout?
Well, apparently, if you don't have video, you can't put little hats into the non-video video stream.
We had like 2 or 3 viewers when we were going through, when when Tony and I, and then by the time you got on, it was down to about 2, and then 1, and now there's none. But we had some viewers there.
Well, I mean, I know. I think we needed a little better plan for compelling video.
This was kind of a last minute thing because of the help desk, or I'm sorry, the National Podcast Day, and the fact that you and I can't seem to buy time to get together lately. It's either one thing or another. We had a good friend of ours pass away this last week, which screwed up my schedule.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was the husband of a woman that Patty worked with in her old job. Her husband passed away, and we'd go out to dinner with him every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a shock. Just all of a sudden he didn't wake up one night.
Oh wow.
And the rotten thing is that's the second person that Patty and I know that has had that happen in the last month.
Go to bed and just don't wake up. Wow.
Yeah, and all of a sudden at 60 I'm starting to feel kind of old.
Oh, trust me, there are days I feel that all the time.
Man, oh man. You gotta be just busier than heck right now.
Well, we finally were. Oh, how do I say this in a nice way? We're getting some help from Risa, which I really needed the help. I'm just not thrilled with how we're doing it exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're spending way more than we need to, but I can't argue with it right now. So we got instead of, I never quite finished all my work on Spiceworks because doing something that 10 minutes a week, you really don't get very far in a month.
Mm-hmm.
So we started using Reese's Help Desk app.
Oh.
Which really technically isn't a help desk app. It's a software development lifecycle app that you can kind of, sort of, Anyways, so I said, okay, we're getting everything in here that we have to do. If it's going to take you more than 10 or 15 minutes to do it, create a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
They did their training for us yesterday morning. When I left today, we had put in 186 tickets.
So you guys are making the tickets?
Yeah, because right now, again, they're making the same arguments that I made. They can't have everybody create tickets until they tie it into Active Directory.
Yeah.
We got 18 things that are all dependent on Active Directory.
And it's not done yet?
No. We got the list from personnel, and they're like, man, it's a pain to get this thing in any kind of format so we can import it. I went, exactly. That's the problem I've run into every time I've tried to do this stuff.
They can't get it into a CSV format?
Well, the problem is they don't do consistent data entry. So you'll have ones with spaces at the end of names. They've accidentally put a comma somewhere in somebody's name. There's any number of things that will completely screw it up when you take that spreadsheet and try to make it into a CSV.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get all now Reese is helping me edit the thing to try to get it all fixed, so that once we can do that, we can import everything into Active Directory and get that set up. They kind of came up with a different approach to it than I did, but now I'm thinking of what they're talking about, going, that does kind of make sense. In Lincoln Park, we had separate OUs for each building, and then within each building, we had separate OUs or containers for teachers, staff, etc.
Yeah.
So when you had people move from building to building, you had to move them between OUs.
Yeah.
What Reese suggested was put all the users that are employees in one OU, and then use security groups.
Okay.
And then a person can exist in multiple security groups, and that's how you assign the rights, and that's how you apply group policy. I really need to sit down and think about it a little more thoroughly, but
that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just have to take some time and run the whole thing through in my head to see, do I agree how it all fits together in the end. But
because in any school, you've got several different levels of security permissions.
Right. But the only thing is, I've never seen, usually group policy is applied to users or computers. I've never seen group policy applied to security groups.
I don't think they're not trying to do that, are they? I mean,
yeah, because part of what you're going to do is that's how you're going to create desktop objects for users, printer mappings. At least I hope so, because if you just map it to the physical computer only, then that means if a teacher sits down at a student machine, they won't be able to print to the teacher printers, because because your printer object is applied to the computer, not to the user.
Teachers shouldn't be using student computers anyway.
Right, and they shouldn't, but then again, you have, when they're trying to do a PD day, the teachers are going to use the computer lab.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess you could temporarily apply the teacher printer to them and then remove it at the end of the day.
Don't they on a computer lab? Aren't the laptops or the computers or whatever? Isn't there a printer allowed for the students in every lab?
Yeah, there's a printer in the lab, but the teachers may want to use one of the bigger copiers because it can do a bunch of other things like folding, stapling, hole punching, etc.
Yeah.
That typically the student printer will only print single or double-sided, and that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was looking at some stuff going, really logically, like this issue with with the iPads for Los Angeles County schools, or the stuff with the Chromebooks, or all these other things. Part of these problems, I think, honestly happen because the school districts really need to say, for any of these really big projects, A, we got to get a stakeholder from every area who's knowledgeable about that area into the meeting, because you need your security people because the stuff can get stolen, that kind of stuff. You need your tech people for integrating, whatever it is will have to get integrated somehow in with technology pretty much nowadays. You need your facilities people because are you going to have to reconfigure rooms? Do you need more power? Do you need changes in air conditioning, lighting? But you need to have everybody involved that could have any skin in the game, piece everything together, and just like a launch of a space shuttle, everybody has a go no go at points along the way in the project.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody declares a no go, you go to a hold, and the project gets held until the group that said no go has now decided we're a go again. Because I see too many projects like that LA County Schools one, where you didn't test it, you didn't torture test it, you didn't see if the kids could get around your web filtering, you didn't do any of those things beforehand. You didn't look at all of the associated issues with it.
It's like they just jumped on the bandwagon and said, yeah, we're going to do this.
Exactly. And I see us doing that on similar projects, and it's like, so you said we're going to do X, and we're going to start on this date, without consulting any of the other groups that have to do all kinds of things, and now it's just, well, you just have to make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not that I can do that, but what would you say if all of a sudden, the day before school, we go, oh, by the way, we changed all the textbooks for all your classes. Here's the new books.
Yeah.
Be ready to teach in 2 days.
Learn
with these
them.
books. Well, we can't do that. Why? All you have to do is you only have to be a chapter ahead of the kids. I don't know. But yeah, I think we need. I'd like to see us do some more video ones, but I'd like to see it, like screen sharing, and we're doing something, or we're demonstrating a product.
Yeah.
How to use a particular product in a particular way.
Yep. I've been working on how-tos on video with a screen capture, and I've been experimenting and doing, working on that, trying to get that down, because I think that's a good way to monetize our help monetize our website.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen our statistics for this month?
You sent me something. You said we had 700 and something downloads for the month.
Last I saw, we had 740 downloads this month.
Okay.
Our previous record was 685.
See, if we get back to doing this on a regular basis, and we just have to commit to doing it, I think we're going to continue to pick up listeners, viewers, whatever term you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're consistent, that they know that every week we're going to be putting out a podcast. I'm about halfway done with the book. I haven't, with the last month and change, I haven't had time to do any kind of reading. So as soon as I finish that, we'll have to do our review of the book and talk about it a little bit, and Wonder if there's any chance we could get the author on.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Because I absolutely love the book. It's like, it's deja vu for me in so many ways.
Oh yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that because it is for me in a lot of ways. But you've got, I mean, man, you've been around so much longer.
Well, thanks for saying that. I feel much older now.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know. But yeah, I mean,
old timer.
Yeah, I'm at the spot right now in the book where they're talking about, fix this or you're going to be outsourced, and it's like, dude, that's like such a flashback to me because I was in the exact same situation that they're like, well, it wasn't outsourced, it was get this thing working because the company is depending on it, or all 45 people in this room, every single one of them will be fired.
Yeah.
And it's like, crap. And the scarier part is, in the same situation he's in, which we'll go into later, some of the things are in your control, but so much of it
is not
way outside of your control, and the people whose problem it really is aren't willing to admit that it's their problem.
No, they won't own it at all.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, no, it's got to be your problem.
Yeah, because I know it's not mine.
Yeah. Well, look, we're pulling tons of data together and showing you it's not. So, anyways, yeah, we'll do that one, and then, like I said, it'd be nice to kind of get, because I didn't say it to Tony, but, I've worked with Linux and Unix going back almost 30 years.
I know.
But I'm not that good. I'm not really that good at it. I'm okay. With the right set of reference manuals, I can get along pretty well. But there are still things that happen that I just sit there going, okay, I don't understand this. I don't know what the heck it's doing right now. I mean, I got one server that, I don't know. It doesn't want to start DHCP. I've tried 8 different things. So right lately, just to save time, if something happens and it shuts down and DHCP doesn't start running, I just reinstall the server again.
Oh, jeez.
Well, it doesn't. It keeps all the settings. Everything stays the same. It's just takes 8 minutes for it to install, and then everything's running, and then I'm okay again until I have another power failure. Would I like to figure out why it won't start? Oh, absolutely. But I've spent like 2 or 3 hours on it, and at 2 or 3 different occasions, and have never stumbled across the cause of the problem. And now in another month or 2, the server is going to be replaced anyways. But
so there.
Yeah, but it's still one of those where it's like, you really want to know, what the heck am I missing?
Yeah, you'll figure it out about 6 months after you no longer need it.
Probably. And then I will never see that problem again as long as I live.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Could you imagine leaving Taylor and going to a Novell?
The only way I could leave there and go to a Novell, someplace that had Novell, I would have to spend months researching it. I mean, just coincidentally wandering into a place that's still running Novell would be pretty astronomically small odds. If I wound up walking into a place and found out they had Novell, I'd be out buying a lottery ticket that minute.
If you don't live a good life when you go, you're gonna spend the rest of eternity in that position in a network running Novell.
Oh man, that would be an IT guy's vision of hell.
Can you believe this is podcast number 30, Ed?
Oops, bleep out that last word.
Heck, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, if you can't say hell, then we're in deep trouble. Then we're in deep trouble.
Yeah, I can't believe we've done 30 podcasts, and we've got what 4 more months till the next brainstorm.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man, I'll be feeling so much better then, Ed. I might actually be able to walk around. I'll be down to just one bad hip at that point.
Well, it's better than 2,
Yeah.
but not as good as none.
Yeah. But I can't believe that I've done 3 podcasts in the last 7 days.
You've done 3 in the last 7 days?
Yeah. This one, counting this one, and then 28 was about a week ago, and then 29 I did just over the weekend.
Okay. Well, like
29 was very simple. It was on online scams, and I had already done a lot of work on that already. So,
Mm-hmm.
And I knew you were busy, but I just had what I wanted to do. I wanted to get this to be our 30th podcast on September 30th, National Podcast Day.
30 on 30.
There's a certain
idea.
symmetry there I was aiming for, you know?
There is. That's pretty good. So how's work going so far?
It's busy. Man, I feel so much better though. Physically, I am so much stronger than I was back last, geez. I'd have to go back like before my hernia surgery.
Mm-hmm.
When I felt this strong. I still have to walk with a cane because my hips are just not there. And whenever I can, like when I'm going from room to room or from school to school or place to place like that, I need a cane. If I'm in a room and I'm moving around, I pretty much walk without one.
Okay.
But I don't trust my hips going through in the long run, going down these long halls and everything, because I think I'll give out. I'm afraid of falling.
Well, maybe one of these weekends here we'll do a Saturday, since I think I've done my last Saturday working.
I've heard that line before.
Yeah, me too. We'll see how. Well, I'm going out of town this weekend, so I can't work.
Okay.
That leaves me with the following, weekend.
Patty and I were going to go out of town Thanksgiving, but we can't because she has to work that day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So
we're gonna definitely be doing another. We'll have to test the technology out again, since I will be down in Florida over Thanksgiving for 2 weeks. So
there we go.
So we'll have to at least do 2 remote podcasts.
Yep.
But that won't be bad. Plug in my headphones, go to Skype, get somewhere where I have internet access, and record a podcast.
There we go. You got it. You can do it from the beach, and we'll do a video.
Yeah, I'll just be wearing board shorts and a polo shirt and a tie. And
a tie?
Well, gotta look formal.
I put on, like a dork, when I got ready for this podcast, I put on our the Help Desk Podcast T-shirt. I put my red one on. I figured the color would be good. Mm-hmm. And then when I got in front of the video camera, the red was just way too vibrant. I was just glowing. Mm-hmm. So I had to take it off. And there wasn't enough time for me to go and get the blue one or green one.
Yeah, I had a Interop T-shirt on. Then all of a sudden I'm like, man, the camera won't go on.
Well, heck. Okay, we're going to end it.
All right, you take it easy. I will chat with you later and enjoy the rest of the week.
And I'm going to do my darndest to save this thing.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, don't tell me.
If you never hear from me again, then you know what happened.
Exactly.
Okay, Ed, have a good night.
All right, take it easy, you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Well, that's going to wrap up another episode. If you have any thoughts that you'd like to share about the subject that we just covered tonight, be sure to drop us a line. Let us know what you think. You can call in and leave a voicemail message at 313-444-3154. Or you can email us at feedback@thehelpdeskpodcast.com. You can also reach out for us on Google Plus at The Help Desk Podcast, and then on Twitter at helpdesk54. I'd like to ask you to do me a favor, though. Please send us some feedback. Let us know what you think of the podcast. Constructive criticism is always welcome here. I truly believe that you folks are the stars of this podcast. All I'm doing here is just offering you a context in which you can express yourself. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Good night, everybody.